Welcome back to another issue. I'm Beastie Boy,
I'm Table.
I'm Red.
It is I, Shino Brando.
and for today we'll be talking about the return of Rick and Morty for the back half of season 4. So I'm wondering, who's been watching and what are your thoughts about it?
Wants to go first?
Me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the last episode that I watched was the last episode that aired, which was the Dragon Slut episode, where Morty decides that, he's going to cash in on some stuff that Rick has promised him and ends up with a dragon
Yep.
that turns out to not only have what is implied sex with his grandfather, but also 5 other freaking dragons,
Okay,
all for our entertainment.
look, dragons having sex with dragons makes logistical sense. But, I've never really gotten how you even go about dragon fucking.
Well, you see,
No.
soul bonding.
Oh, okay.
So it's not, sex as we know it. It's more of a bond between people that
It's mind fucking is what you're saying.
it's mind fucking.
Yeah,
So it's not anything like what we've seen in like Shrek where Donkey and the dragon hooked up.
No,
Okay.
they're not procreating.
It's
They're,
just
they're just experiencing a feeling together.
gotcha. Okay.
it's
Whack.
better when he's. Remember, Rick said it's better when he's watching.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know why it's
Don't
better,
like
but you
that.
better keep watching.
Ooh,
Oh
I
man,
don't like that.
that's wild.
And
And
then the
okay,
wizard
so
comes along and goes, "What? No, you can't be doing that. One bond per person," and literally slut shames this dragon. Then we have to fall into the pits of basically like non-monogamous people and this old creepy dragon that decides, warning viewers, this is an 18+ episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can just say that anything to do with Rick and Morty is by default 18 plus.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way that we can, talk about some of Rick's escapades without getting a little more than PG-13.
Oh boy, do you remember he went to go see Unity?
The whole universe remembers Unity.
Man,
It was probably streamed live.
like man,
The
yeah,
dude likes
was.
it when people watch.
well, that's a yikes.
The entire show is a yikes.
What are your thoughts on it then?
So I do have to establish that the way I watched this show was I had a friend who sat me down one day
Had.
and insisted that if we just watched enough of this show, I would like it eventually. We watched a season and a half in basically one sitting. I am not a fan. I really don't like the art style anymore, to the point where seeing GIFs of it makes me angry.
I'm sorry.
Like Mark Wahlberg.
Yes, Mark Wahlberg and Rick and Morty GIFs. These are the things that anger me.
Wait, why? Why does Mark
We
Wahlberg
established in a
hurt you?
previous episode. I don't like his face.
Oh yes. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's fine. But no, my issue basically amounts to something that I struggle with a lot of adult cartoons, which is just that they take toilet humor and they stretch it a little bit farther
Make a whole 30
and then
minutes.
add sex jokes
Mhm.
and then expect you to laugh at its characters suffering. And it's
But I
the point
like
of
suffering.
slapstick. Slapstick is laughing at people suffering, right? That's the whole point of it. But there's a lot of fine lines in that genre of humor to stop you people just being uncomfortable. And adult cartoons, especially Rick and Morty, almost never manage those lines well. So a lot of the time I come out of it hating the characters I'm supposed to empathize with, or just really despising the characters responsible for each other's suffering. Like, you're not supposed to like Rick. We all agree on this, right?
Right.
I don't just dislike him. I hate the fact that he's allowed a continued presence in his family's lives because he hurts them at every single turn all the time, and he thinks it doesn't matter because his entire philosophy is that nothing matters. But if you can't value even the relationships with people who care about you, then what's the goddamn point?
But now you're looking at it with feelings.
I have lots of feelings.
Yeah, but the show's you're not supposed to have any feelings.
0 feelings, in fact.
Yeah, it's a zero feeling show. There's nothing nice about it. It's never gonna be wholesome. It's not the idea.
The only nice things about this show are little drops to other shows that it does. It does little drops to Marvel Comics and the Galactic of Ricks.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
I mean, like literally the entire family, each member's a piece of shit.
Oh, totally.
That's
And Jerry's
true.
the second worst one.
And you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to like them. You're just supposed to be there and witness their shit and laugh at them. If you go in there with feelings, it's like the best example I could give is like I went to go see Seth MacFarlane and the whole cast do a live reading during Just for Laughs in Montreal, Family Guy, right? And they had a Q&A right after the show. And this guy got up And he straight up asked Seth MacFarlane, "Why do you guys always punish Meg?" And the only answer Seth MacFarlane had to tell him was, "Why the fuck do you care? She's just a fucking cartoon." So if you go in there with feelings, right, it's gonna bother you.
Mhm.
But I mean, again, it's all by a certain taste.
Yeah. See, on the other hand, I can watch South Park, and some of that's, outright atrocious.
Oh yeah,
But like, it doesn't bother me the same way Rick and Morty does, and I'm not quite sure why.
because there's a few endearing characters that you can still care for. Like Kyle's a pretty good guy, Stan's a good guy, so they bring out good qualities. As where this show has zero of that, so it's just like you have no connection to anybody there. So you're not really, I guess you're not.
I think
Finding
the best character on the show, like in terms of morality, would have to be Summer.
There's probably the only one. But again, but even then, she's like.
I mean, she's not, the most wholesome by a wide margin comparatively to the rest of her family. She's leagues ahead of them.
Yeah, she is.
Right, because she stays in her own thing. She deals with her own friends. She doesn't
kids.
try to go on mystical adventures to get, intergalactic drugs or something. She just stumbles upon them.
The kids are good. Like both Morty and Summer. Like, Morty a little less.
Morty has a nice head on his shoulders, but uses it poorly.
Yeah, because he hangs with Rick.
I mean, he's a child.
I mean, like the kids are the only salvageable ones of the entire show. If you're looking for like someone to care for, if you want to go that far, right?
Listen, if you're gonna look for somebody to care for Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Mr. Poopy Butthole forever.
I can't, and you won't make me.
Listen, the fact that we watch a show collectively,
and you have to say Mr. Poopy Butthole out loud. Yes.
and
I have yet to do so.
And then they merchandise it. Yes, it's a real thing.
So when I scan something, or a clerk scans something at like whatever GameStop, it says Mr. Poopy Butthole on a receipt. They did that. I didn't do that. They did that.
My friend,
They sure did.
it's already an audible name. It's already out there. Mr. Poopy Butthole has
It's
been
true.
said.
He's been canonized, if you will.
It's out there. We
Same
can
with
never go
his
back.
family. The man has a family.
He has a family. What?
Yo, he's a professor.
Yes, I get this. He's a professor, but I don't.
No, but like he had a family.
He had or he has.
Had.
Ooh.
Tragic
no.
backstory time.
Oh.
What else do you need? It was a family that also involved Rick.
Oh, jeez.
It's already
dear.
downhill.
And at that point, it wasn't ooh wee. It was a sad ooh.
It was ooh no.
Oh no.
My other favorite episode is I think it's the season 3 opener with Crumbopulous Michael, who's played by Nathan Fillion.
Yep. I sure love killing.
I sure love killing.
He has business cards. I love this character. I hated the fact that he had to die, but he was so funny.
Not even die. He got stuck in old Rick's consciousness and lives out the rest of his days there.
Yeah.
I think we can agree that is a kind of death.
I mean, yeah, but it's a worse death.
Crumble
Death
Michael.
of the self.
Crumbopulous Michael. And that whole episode with the cloud there, the sentient cloud.
Oh yeah,
Right?
FART. Yes.
Yes. And it was voiced by what's his name again from I think Flight of the Conchords. Super hilarious, man. That episode had me crying. Like every 2 seconds, this guy's singing. And
I don't know. The fact that it was a whole David Bowie riff is a whole joke in itself.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous, but so funny. That's
Ever
one of the
think
movies. Sorry?
about how incomprehensible some of this will be, a few years down the line when these pop culture references don't slide quite as well.
It's gonna be for a niche group, same like a Seinfeld group.
Yeah, whoever those people are.
Exactly.
We'll never talk. We
People
will
still
never.
watch Seinfeld?
Viewers, ladies and gentlemen, like,
watched 5 episodes
everybody in
my
between.
entire life.
We will never be doing an episode on Seinfeld.
I've only watched 5 episodes in my entire life, if ever, even that.
I have never deliberately watched an episode.
I've watched Friends once, and that's never gonna happen again.
I think we could also write out How I Met Your Mother. We don't need to do that either.
I would never watch that too. I
Pass.
watched that twice, I think.
I tried watching that, like, with when my buddy was watching the whole series, like a whole run back. I'm telling you, this man has watched it so many times. He like knows the ins and outs of some of the jokes. And I'm like, God.
Some of the people in my house, like, that's what they put on as like comfort, and I'm like,
Comfort for
you
who?
need better. You deserve better. The
But
show
yeah.
ended because nobody was watching it, and you gave it a third life because it
Sad.
had its original life in its original publication, then it had its second life in the reruns that were already on TV, and then you let it have a third.
Well, speaking of seasons now, if we get back on topic there a little bit, apparently we're looking forward to what, like another 70 episodes of Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah,
74-ish.
8 seasons in a movie. 8 seasons in a movie. Let's go.
100 years, Rick and Morty.
100 years, Rick and Morty.
I like how that was the main joke in the pilot episode too.
and it became a thing.
Man, that's
Listen, these guys brought back Szechuan sauce, man.
that's true.
I mean, was it a good idea
the
though?
global monopoly that is McDonald's to bring back a sauce they released 20-ish years ago.
Thank you. The ridiculousness behind this show and the influence it has, man, is beyond belief.
I bet you could draw a metric where Rick and Morty actually pushed up Nintendo 3DS sales from when they did that in the show.
Do you know why they did that? Because they literally tried to get an endorsement from Nintendo.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's the reason why that whole segment happened, is because they tried to force an endorsement to happen, and it
Did
didn't.
it? Oh, did it go through? Well, maybe they tried.
I'm still fine. You know who still does promotions with them? Wendy's.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Dude, just scroll through the Rick and Morty Twitter, and you
Mhm.
will find several clips of exclusive content just for Wendy's.
So-
Wendy's has such a weird social media presence, it's not even funny.
But it is.
And then they tacked Rick and Morty on top of it.
I mean, that's a powerhouse
Corporations
combo.
aren't your friends.
Hamburgers are, though.
Oh, jeez.
Do you
Have you seen
regularly eat your friends, Red? Do I need to be worried?
What's the most shocking thing to you, though? It's for you, Red. The most shocking thing Rick and Morty's ever done.
All of Fruity Land. Listen, the fact that this dude,
Yeah.
that they put on this Thor Ragnarok style mock theater version of how the story goes, on how the creation of Fruity Land went, and Beth's childhood friend got stuck in there for God even knows how long. 30-ish years, let's give or take, and the little mutant between his DNA and whatever the hell the Fruity Landians,
Mhm.
and he literally goes hump, 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 makes me uncomfortable.
Listen, man, I had to watch Morty have sex with an android and then birth a Gazorpazorp. Okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
That's not great.
Well, how about the one where he forced Rick to give him a potion to make what's her face fall in love with him, and then
And then
And
created the
then-
apocalypse. Yeah.
yeah, and then
Yes.
have to switch universes to live. My favorite is the non-contextual ones. They like the ones that are just all like the one where they sat down and watched TV all day and it's just nonsense commercials.
Oh, intergalactic commercials. Yes.
That's one of my favorites. One of my favorites of all time. Both of them actually, because they did it twice.
Yeah.
And
And then they did a version of it, but they flipped it on its head where it's Morty's memory makers.
yes, those to me like those are super funny because there's no meat to them. It's just for you to sit down and just veg out to. And it's just a bunch of nonsense bullshit, and it's so funny how it's just all strung together. The commercial is like, what's the one? There are two brothers, and they have to fight the Spanish Armada, and there's a planet that's like I think the moon's about to crash into the planet, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff they have to fight just to call two brothers.
It's so good. How about the one where it's just literal doors,
Answer my
and then they
eyes,
think
not
that the
to-
commercial's over,
and
and it's still just
Totally.
literal doors.
man, it's so ridiculous. Oh, there's another hot one in that one too that had me dying, but I can't remember it for the life of me. I have to rewatch all that stuff. It's been a while for me. I haven't really gone back. At one point, I was stuck watching them because like everybody loved it at the moment. So like I was like
Oh
everybody.
yeah, the point in time where everybody decided to hop on the awful bandwagon that was
Yeah.
pushing the show in a direction that it didn't need to go.
Right, so I haven't really ever gone back to watch those because it's like I've been drowned in it so much.
There's a saturation point for any kind of media where you just kind of go, you know what? I'm sure there's something in there worthwhile, but I'm not sure I want to go back into it.
Oh, but I tell you this time, table. This if I was a plant, this one was overwatered, man. This is like I couldn't do it anymore.
Your root systems are drowning.
I had to really sit back and stop and just like, okay, come on, just wait for this season to like start and just don't go back and like don't even tell anybody you watch Rick and Morty at this point. Just
I really
don't.
appreciate that they like abandoned the overarching plot
Which one?
as opposed to season 3. So season 3, right? We have the Pickle Rick episode, but it's all about him going to therapy.
Yeah,
And then Jerry comes back in the family, and then we deal with the president for an episode and a half. Like, no. It is my personal opinion that every episode of Rick and Morty
Mhm.
should basically be one-offs.
you know what? Fun fact. For
The
that,
only way that you should keep continuity is like Morty has this little coupon about adventures,
yeah,
and
so,
you just keep track of them, and we just keep track as fans.
so fun fact on that is that the show has few arcs that they have interlaced within the seasons, but they're not supposed to overtake the entire story plot. And did you know that every sequence you see in the intro for the show is an episode in the making?
I like that because I still want to see the Cthulhu one.
And that's an episode. And it's gonna happen.
So wait, so what you're saying is that They'll like while there's an episode airing, there's already another episode in the kind of like a background, as you would say.
No, the intro.
No.
alone,
Like
that's all.
that, the
Everything
scenes
is-
that make up the intro of
Mm-hmm.
every single episode,
it's
Yeah.
gonna be an
basically all
episode
the
at some
same
point.
intro,
Oh,
are
okay.
in development episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Or the fact that they're already animated, but they're not in sequence yet because it's not
All put together. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, those are literally every time you watch an intro, those are episodes that are gonna happen, or they sometimes they have clips in there that it already has happened or it happens during that
Right,
season.
like the Aliens one, I think it's in season 2,
Yeah.
where it's an Aliens one. But
Yeah.
instead of doing an episode, they did a little. I think it's just an animated clip on YouTube. I think they put it on their YouTube channel where they did a full Aliens ripoff.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean
right.
homage. That's what I mean, not
Yeah.
ripoff.
Yeah,
It's only a ripoff if you're making money off it being a ripoff.
this is true, and it's not a full theme they walk on. They work with, so I mean they're safe, right? But other than that, I'm looking forward to the rest of season 4. It's been a long time, 6 months, which is a crazy hiatus.
Way too long.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
like,
then again, I also like Steven Universe, and they released a movie and then basically waited until the following May. So
Yeah.
from September to May to give me a new episode.
you gotta say, like, look, the audience is pretty used to this too. The show does
Takes
take
long breaks.
Yeah, it takes long between seasons. So I mean, a break is a break. 6 months is honestly the best it's been. So
If it takes time in between content to create good content, it's better that they take that time. Otherwise, you get the Game of Thrones situation where they rush and make it suck.
well, for Rick and Morty, it's the audio. They have to go through the script and have every part of it correct. So like, because Dan
There's
Harmon,
so much.
yeah, Dan Harmon, he voices Rick, and he's got to actually like drink like sodas and stuff and get the burps just right in time on cue. So they go through the lines over and over. So just recording takes forever just to get the right audio, and then just to lace that over. I mean, over the animation.
And the
over
animation
audio.
has significantly been better and better every
Yeah.
single season. So season 1 through 3 are pretty much static camera angles. Whereas as
Yeah.
we start to creep into season 4 and even just the back end of season 3, you start to get, in the Dragon Sled episode, you get this big pan shot and it moves all the way around the dragon and Rick as they're flying in the sky, high as a freaking kite.
Adult Swim barely even gives him any funding. It's more or less out of his pocket. So like, a lot of it just takes a lot of time for them.
Yeah, they're too busy making Samurai Jack shows. I mean,
Yeah.
video games.
Well, I mean, yeah, Adult
We're all
Swim.
here
Yeah.
for Samurai Jack.
Another thing too, I think both Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland worked on stuff like Regular Show and Adventure Time, for that matter too.
Justin Roiland voices the lemon one, the lemon character.
Yes,
from
Lemon Grab.
Adventure Time.
Thank you. Yes.
But that show is going to come back too on
heard.
the big parent company HBO Max.
Yeah.
And the same week that Rick and Morty's back half of season 4 is coming out, we will get a trailer for the newest thing of Adventure Time that will be exclusive for HBO Max.
Those guys are actually they're really good friends, by the way. They all know each other pretty well. I think they've all gone to the same animation school.
And the people that did Gravity Falls too.
They're them.
So much so, they got a little nod that apparently a hat, a notepad, and a cup are all seen going through a portal in one show and come out a portal in the other show.
So there's a show. There's a show on Netflix. What's it called, man? It's an animated show. Dude in Outer Space.
Final
Some
Space,
ties-
I think it's called.
Thank you. Final Space has some ties to Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty has some ties to Gravity Falls. All three of them kind of coexist.
Yeah, the same kind of multiverse.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah.
Are we talking the
they
cartoon
nod to each other.
cinematic universe?
Basically, but I think they're all from different houses. So it's not.
It's just
know,
They're
creators
safe
giving
from each other.
creators
Yes.
giving nods to each other. Hey.
Hey, Justin
Yeah.
Roiland, you want to come voice a character in the show that's super annoying for its entire existence?
And we'll give a little nod to your show by putting a little green portal or doing this and that in the background. And
Or
they-
want to come just do it for funsies because we don't have a voice? Can you just do a sub voice and then we'll just get a real person? But this is how the line should sound. And then they go, yeah, Justin Roiland did a good job, so we'll just leave him.
Another fun fact. Do you remember the wedding between Phoenix Person and
Bird person,
Bird Person and Summer's friend there? Do
Tammy.
you remember the photographer, the one that had the camera for a head? That was Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps. He got a small role. They just gave him because he wanted to get into voice acting in Hollywood.
Cool.
Role because he knows Justin Roiland, I think, or Dan Harmon, one of the two.
I think one of them was on one of their shows.
Yeah, Harmon. Yeah, they know each other quite well, so he gave him a little role.
That's super cool. It is very interesting to see people in the content creation business be able to step into the actual entertainment business.
Yeah.
You have the McElroy brothers, who literally created a podcast for a year and a half to try to weasel their way into Trolls World Tour. It's not that they bothered, just that they asked nicely every single episode for like 12 episodes or so, and then they got actually starring roles where you could hear their voices, like not just, oh, they're a background character, like they actually speak to the main character for a while.
And that's movement.
No, it's really nice that these communities are actual communities of people who know each other and interact.
You can tell they have a very similar style to each other. I find all three of those shows, and even like regular show, like Adventure Time, they all have a style that they tell their story in, and like it's not of the average. Like Adventure Time is like you call it Adventure Time, but it doesn't move like an adventure show. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is an adventure show, but it's not. It's different. It's so different, and all those shows have that kind of feeling, that tone. Steven Universe is another one.
Oh, Steven Universe is a blast. We'll do we'll do an
Like,
episode on that eventually.
Oh yeah, like
I'll
there's
convince
I'd love
somebody to watch some, just the Steven Universe future that I got the opportunity to watch live, and
things.
I have never cried at a show so hard.
Well, Steven Universe, like the first one, does its thing very well, and then Steven Universe Future deals with everything that came up really well, and it's just
Super
a
well.
beautiful synthesis. So like I'm here for that.
It's-
Whereas that's what I guess I struggled with a lot of Rick and Morty was it didn't follow through on anything
No over.
ever.
Yes,
The
no,
closest it got was like self-referential in jokes to its
Yeah.
own previous episodes where like, oh haha, we did this thing, wasn't it funny? And I'm like, actually no, that was kind of upsetting at the time and I'm mad you've reminded me about it.
I hear you. You like things where you like your plate full.
I like my flavors to mesh at
I
least.
hear you. Yeah, I hear you. And again, that's the appeal of like Steven Universe that had a full story arc. Adventure Time had after a while it had growth, but then it had a story arc. And all these guys, Gravity Falls had the same thing too. It had a build up and then the story arc really happened. And that's the great thing about the shows because their story arcs they're light for kids and yet they're still enjoyable for all ages really. And they're again different tone compared to like again Rick and Morty, which is just terrible people living terrible lives and you're just gonna watch and witness their shit.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Like we also stan a show with an ending,
Yes.
Yes, we are very much fans of shows that finish.
and that don't like.
Yeah.
The
Looking at-
unfortunate part is even modern shows like OKKO don't get a proper ending. In fact, so much so that the parent company that decides to put their episodes out put them in the wrong order, and so nobody actually sees the ending in which it's intended.
There's a couple of shows who fall into that before, I believe, which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, half of season 1 of Rick and Morty is mismatched and not in order.
I mean, an ending it ends up defining everything that's come before it.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of creators shy away from endings because if you give a bad one, you've basically either completely
You spit in the
invalidated
face.
or spat in the face of all of your hard work. So even people who loved everything you made up until this point will feel betrayed.
You know what? If you guys are ever ready to sit down and do something about Adventure Time, I'm all in. I actually have to go back and rewatch the last half of it because I don't remember much of it. I was very in between, so I lost a lot of seasons. So I got to rewatch it. But I'd love to go over that stuff too.
I would definitely join you in an Adventure Time like watch along, or let's watch the final season together. And because I really like Adventure Time's ending.
I don't spoil it because I've only seen bits and pieces of like the final 2 seasons, and I never got to really fully watch it through. Life just took over, so I missed out on that. And
It's
when I
all
heard
good. One of the last seasons, it's called Into the Elements or something like that, and that is absolutely essential. It gives you all the backstory you'll ever need for every character.
right, and that's what I always want because I know it. Like someone told me it ended big. There was so much to it. Like for me, I stood there.
There's
just
a big reveal in the last like 1 or 2 minutes that they weren't allowed to do because they were on a kids network, but because the show was ending anyway,
You may as well.
you might as well.
Man,
So I will leave you with that passing thought.
I gotta watch it. I gotta find it and watch it, man. I missed that show. That and a regular show too. I heard ended really great, and I missed out on that. So I
But
gotta
it, also, regular show had a movie.
They had a movie?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I am like 90% sure regular show had a movie.
What? Internet.
Let me just see if I can pull that. Yeah, that's regular show the movie official trailer.
No kidding.
December 2015.
Absolutely did. Regular show the movie. Absolutely, 10,000% it did. So when
I am
the creators of Rick and Morty because they're so tied to regular show, when they say 6 seasons in a movie,
It's
that's what
They
we're going to
probably
get.
actually mean.
We are more than likely going to get 6 seasons and a movie.
Wow.
And then because they're affiliated with Cartoon Network, we might just get one more just for funsies.
I'm all about it. I'm totally in for that.
What would you guys want to see from a Rick and Morty movie?
You know what? Honestly, if you're gonna make a movie out of Rick and Morty, then you end it all.
The death of Rick.
You end it with a narrative. He either becomes a family member or not. One of the two. But we don't go past that.
I would really like to see, like, not turn into his grandfather, more inherit the smarts that he was genetically given,
I have a theory on that.
right?
You've got a
But-
theory on that?
I have a theory on all of it.
We'll get to your theory. Let's let Red finish first.
Yeah, I have a theory on
So
all of it. Go
I
ahead.
would like to see, like, maybe Rick like dies and actually can't come back for some multiversal reason. I don't know. Snake Jazz drives him mad. I don't know. And he leaves Morty the way to achieve intergalactic travel and his portal gun and the keys to the car. And that's our final shot.
Okay, so you want the movie to be the end, give or
Oh,
take.
yeah.
It has to be the end.
Or if you're going to do another like season post the movie, it needs to be how we tie it all together. It can't just be like the movie's just an extra long episode, because with this format, it's not going to work.
More importantly, frankly, no episode has the plot to carry a movie.
But even if you created one, I don't think these characters ever make it an hour and a half.
You think you just get sick of them? Because no, that's probably why I got sick of it, frankly. I binge watched it. I sat down, I had to like stew with these people for hours. So yeah, you're probably right that a movie would just kill anything anyone had for them.
Right? So Shino, what's your theory?
I just believe Morty is Rick, just one of his other fucking clones out there.
Really?
He carries so many possible similar traits. It's pretty much Morty's Rick if Rick did become a drunk, an addict, right? And my theory on that is because I don't
Look
think
at his mom.
his family members are not real. When he lost his wife, I think he lost his wife and Beth, man. I think Beth is like just a cloned child too, because the way he carries on, he doesn't really care about Beth.
Well, the other thing to throw a wrench at that is right now, like there was an episode where Beth had the opportunity to go off on her own, and unfortunately it was Freeperland, so I had to watch that one a couple times.
Yeah.
To really understand it, is once Beth was really made really aware of how smart she really was and her creative ingenuity, it's really hard to separate yourself from that. Once you realize you are going to be forever smarter than everybody else in the room, and there's no way to help or correct that, I'm pretty sure, and somebody in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong, that Rick offered her the chance that there will be a genetic clone, perfect in every way, and she could go off and do whatever she wanted. That the Beth we currently have in the show is the clone, and Beth went off to do her own thing.
Wouldn't eventually the clone notice that, still smartest person in the room and also wants to be living their own life? But like then you get just a regression problem. You've got an infinite number of Beth clones running around. We've already been through the infinite number of Rick clones. I don't want to do it again.
If he did it for
We
him,
also still have an evil Morty plot line to wrap up.
yeah, there's evil Morty. And it also begs the question as to why he's never ever cloned his wife.
Here's my guess. My educated theory is a loss like that is like, as much as you would want to bring somebody back like that, maybe the way that they were taken out of his life is so fundamentally intertwined with the way what he does and how he moves around and his ship or whatever, that undoing one undoes everything else.
He lost it to the portal.
Right.
He lost it to the
Well,
portal.
that is the memory that we were shown, but how much of
Never
that was
really.
real and how much of that was made up to convince Carbobulus Michael, that this was, this is the formula to create things. How much of that is real and how much of that isn't? We still don't.
But I don't know. I feel like that came from the heart because she's not around.
Right.
Right.
And
actions like that leave someone devastated for years. If something like if you were the person who who was responsible for the accident to happen, he shows signs of being a broken person. He's a terrible person. He's got a lot of flaws. Feels like I think he brought on his own mental health illness, right? So.
Oh, totally. Like he also brought on his own alcoholism and dependent on drugs.
Yeah, for me, I think that moment in memory really happened, and it really devastated him, and this is why he's Rick now.
Right. So that leads me back to it being so fundamentally involved in the creation of so much that is him, that undoing one and undoing the other isn't something he's willing to do.
Well, it sounds like you might finally have found something that does matter.
Could,
but it's just one thing
like he shows signs of
or that
caring for,
one event.
but like, why does he care for Morty so much? Unless Morty's just like another one of him. There's so many of them around the universe too. It's
But I mean, he hates himself, so why would he care about something that's just another him?
I don't know. I don't
He
know.
actually explained to both children like how insignificant they both are mathematically
Yeah.
and literally
Rude.
because he judges them. The only thing that differentiates between the two is height. Summer gets is his favorite grandchild.
Yes, she's smart.
That's it. She broke everything else down. He broke everything else down, and they're basically equal. The only difference is that Summer is taller. So as much as we like
That's-
Rick and Morty, Rick and Summer are better off together.
Better off might not be the right word for that.
I mean, they would be more productive intergalactically
Yeah.
Because she's taller?
No, because
because
that
he cares exactly that much more.
Yeah.
Because she's taller. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, to
Summer's more
me, it sounds like his
way more
caring
assertive.
isn't significant.
No,
She's way more
absolutely not.
assertive. You remember when they went to that Mad Max world? She literally like married to they got with the gang leader and everything, man. It was like making movements and became like almost head honcho, man. Like Summer
Right.
gets it. Like
And and Morty got an arm looking like a 13-year-old on his first summer.
yeah.
Wow.
Like she's assertive, man. So that's why he favors her more because Summer's not dumb. She's dumb, but she's not dumb. You know what I mean?
Right. She is in her own world doing her own thing,
Yeah.
whereas Morty is so codependent on his grandfather, it doesn't
Yes.
even it's irrelevant. That's
I mean, how
probably
old
why
even is Morty?
Pardon?
How old even is Morty?
I would say 15. I think.
Yeah, he's in high school.
Yeah, he's about 15, I believe.
Okay.
And Summer's probably at least 2 years ahead of him. At least 2, maybe 3.
You know, not bad for not I don't want to say rip off, but an allegory for Doc and Marty, right?
Oh, totally. Right? In homage, even.
It's funny because if you really look at the context, like the way Rick goes about with Morty, like he doesn't care for this kid's like well-being. It's almost like a play on Doc and Marty because like you.
Oh, it definitely is. It's so
shove Marty
much
to
is
a-
that that's what this show started off as.
Yeah, you shove Marty to a friggin' like a car with a nuke on the back, man. Like that's stupid. And
And
yet,
not
you know,
even just any car, an aluminum DeLorean.
right? It's the friggin' DeLorean. So it's a fun twist on that whole. You sent the teenager in your car with a nuke on the back. Like what kind of adult are you? You know what I mean? But like,
Not a very functional one.
yeah, I like the
One
play-
that just wants to plow Unity.
oh man,
Oh dear.
the entire planet.
Which is cool because that's also kind of a riff on Ego the Living Planet from Marvel
Yes,
Comics. And the Galactic of Ricks is exactly like the
Council of Reeds.
Council of Reeds, also from Marvel Comics.
Yeah, this is exactly what that is.
Just
And
a room full.
you could make the same draw that, say, the Maker from the Ultimate Universe is Evil Morty. That's the same allegory.
I would say so too. I really want to get back to that plot line, man. I'm like, that's
Based
the
on
only
the
thing I
titles
really.
that we have, it is
Yeah.
looking like we might touch on that some more, but also
Yeah.
that might just be Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon just fucking with us.
Because I
Why
really
not both?
about Evil Morty, man. Like that intrigues me because I feel like that Evil Morty is like a junior Rick. I have this notion that that's what it is. So I want to see it happen.
I also want to see it happen, mostly because I feel that that plot line might actually be able to carry itself, and enough people care that it'll just be easier,
And I also want to go
as
back.
opposed to dealing with the president of the United States.
I really want to go back to Phoenix Person as well. He was resurrected as Phoenix Person, and he hasn't been put in action yet. I want to see it.
Yeah. So all the episodes. The next one is called Never Ricking Morty, and then
Never Rick, one word, or
Never Ricking Morty.
oh, okay.
And the next one is called Promortius, and the last one is called the Vat of Acid episode.
All right. I will say
Official.
though, I actually
You have
see-
two more after that. You have Child Rick of Mort and Star of Mort Rictum of the Jerry.
Jeez, I
but I
wonder what all of these
super
are.
appreciate puns. That's a lot of work you go into having puns for most of your titles. I'm like, I can respect that.
Yeah, I know they go for it, right? Edge of Morty, Rick Die, and Rick Pete.
I and Rick Pete.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, Edge of Morty, Rick Die, Rick Pete.
Oh my, interesting.
Listen, I'll never sit through that movie either, but I'll sit through the Rick and Morty episode named after it.
Rick
It
Shank.
wasn't like the worst movie I've ever watched, but don't.
Richter who?
What?
Richter who?
I don't know, but everybody gets swifty.
Get Swifty is, besides Terry Folds, that's probably the most successful song.
Terry Folds is super funny though because it's just Terry Folds and that's all it is.
It's just Terry Folds, or their little their bit that they keep using as a commercial in the background now with the floor piss.
Yeah.
I love that so much that they not only got to use it once, they take like 6 bites of this freaking apple. First, they used it in this intergalactic commercial episodes. Then I think they reference it in a couple other episodes where the factory is.
Yeah.
Then in the dragon one, it's literally on TV as Rick is sleeping in front of the television.
Yeah, take note here. I'm looking at some stats here. It looks like sad to say, but it looks like ratings wise, it's kind of come to like a bit of a halt. The peak was like
a bit of a crawl.
Yeah, now it's kind of gone down a little bit, but yeah, like dangerously down, I should say. I guess it's become a niche comedy.
How
But that's
low?
okay.
How down is dangerously down?
Well, at its highest, we're looking
It
at
depends per show.
Yeah, you're looking at like let's see, its highest would have been 2.60. So that's I think what 2.6 million people watching,
Wow.
right? And it's gone down to like season 4 opener was 2.33, and after that it's gone to a steady 1.67, right down to episode 5 being 1.32. So it's been slipping.
But
Gradually,
also,
or-
like saying out loud that this is going to be like this season split in half. Some people like binge watch these episodes, so
Sure.
True enough.
I figure after season 10 that that it'll just get added to the lot of reruns that Adult Swim already does. So it might get a significant more when its full season's over and you're not just waiting for the back half of a show.
Yeah,
Mm.
it might peak again because like it's pretty low. It's been the lowest since episode 1, season 1.
Yeah,
Wow.
Steven Universe faced this problem too, where they released them in batches,
Mm.
and it was just Steven Universe Future. That
Right.
that took a basically a mid-season finale, and then we didn't know until the week before that the next season was coming out, which is a really interesting way to generate hype. But Cartoon Network has never been the best at okay, now that it's out and people are aware of it, time to plug it like it's like our lives depend on it. They're too busy trying to push the dead shows that the same audience likes. So
Right.
Teen Titans Go, the Powerpuff Girls reboot, and now this Johnny Test reboot.
My question, okay, and before we get to Johnny, Jesus, Johnny.
No, no,
Test.
no, no. Powerpuff Girls reboot?
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about that.
we're not going to talk about it. It's extremely millennial, and that's
In
all
a
you
sense
get.
of like,
They hold phones, they twerk.
no, they don't.
My question.
Those are children.
Listen, my question to you guys was okay because I'm significantly a little bit older than you guys here, and for me, I enjoyed watching Teen Titans,
Mm-hmm.
and then Teen Titans Go was a thing, and so your opinions, please. What was this show? Because
I did not
Teen
watch
Titans
Teen
Go
Titans Go.
hurts.
I did not touch Go.
Bad
Yeah.
news bears.
Yeah.
Bad news bears.
I could like just by looking at it, I could never watch it because I'm just like this looks.
So
this looks
if you ever decided that was going to be a show you were going to watch,
yeah,
the only thing that you should consume from this show is A, the clip on YouTube about them addressing that them being a reboot from the previous show.
okay,
B, the movie.
Mhm.
Because it is so
You know what?
littered with like, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold show up.
Okay.
Some older Batman show up. Other things that are references to other properties that Warner Brothers doesn't own all show up in the background, and they all cohesively drive the story enough that it's not literally Teen Titans Go for an hour.
You know, the only thing from that entire nonsense that I ever really enjoyed was the brief scene where you got these bastardizations of our beloved characters in a golf cart trying to drive away from Batman, who is pursuing them.
Oh yes.
And they keep breaking his vehicles, and he
Yeah.
goes to a progressively smaller vehicle. That's funny.
I-
That was worth seeing.
Yeah, someone showed
None
me
of the rest of it.
Yeah, someone showed me that clip because they played the scene from Dark Knight where he came with the tumbler with the bike, and then they played that whole clip, and I was just like, that's hilarious. But I mean, oh man, I don't know. Just looking at it, I could never really watch it.
Look, Batman on a scooter, great.
Yeah.
Everything else, bad.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he references the Batman dance from Batman 66. I'm like 90% sure Stan Lee's makes an appearance.
That's.
I
well,
have a lot of questions.
him and Bob Kane were pretty tight. They used to compare Spidey and Batman all the time. Stan did say that it was too bad that Bob Kane passed away before Tobey Maguire's first movie came out because that would have blown Batman '89 out the water. But hey, both movies I love. So hope those two guys are there up in heaven arguing right now.
Yeah, honestly, they're up there creating the best comics people ever made. And with that, I think we've reached the end of an issue.
Yeah.
Beastie Boy, talk us out.
I will not. No, I'm joking. All right. Well, our social media is our Twitter, which is at Crusade Nerd. Instagram is Nerd Crusade. And we upload every Wednesday to YouTube. And you can download any previous episodes at thenerdcrusade.buzzsprout.com.
And in this episode, we'd like to give a special shout out to our newest subscriber, Nosferatu Omen. Thank you for your continued support in our channel, and we look forward to entertaining you in the future.
And I guess that's to be continued.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this issue, go ahead and button mash the thumbs up. If you want to swing by when we have a new video, web up the subscribe button on YouTube or anywhere you can to listen to our podcast. And to be updated to know when a new issue is out, hit the bell to be notified by